Hey everybody, it's Mike Sullivan with Born to Shine. Today we have Stefan Bean, and Stefan is just pretty much a rock star. He has an awesome book that we're going to talk about, and he has an awesome story that he's going to share with us today. So, Stefan, thank you, brother, for making some time for us today.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate
And
that.
yeah, absolutely. And what was your journey like to become in a position that you're basically running the whole Orange County school system? What was your journey like?
Wow, incredible. I don't know. Do you want to start with from day one, or do you want me to start from the beginning of my educational career?
You know,
Because it's quite a
whatever you want to
story.
do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Share the whole thing. Whatever you're comfortable.
Well, actually, it's interesting. Many have asked, so why education? Currently, I serve as the County Superintendent of Schools, and it's a pretty big position, pretty big job. But my journey starts well before becoming an educator. I actually started in Vietnam in 71, born during the war, the height of the war.
Mm.
I was abandoned on the streets of Saigon at the age of 2 because I had polio.
Oh.
And in Vietnam, they could only give polio vaccinations to 50% of of the population because the war just dismantled the health system. So I ended with polio, and it left me paralyzed from the waist down, terrible scoliosis. Anyways, I was literally abandoned on the streets of Saigon, and then an orphanage brought me in.
Mm.
Um, from there, the United States executed Operation Baby Lift, brought over 3,000 orphans to the United States to be placed in foster care and adoption, or to be placed to be adopted. And I met the Beans. So my journey in education started with the Beans. The Beans were remarkable individuals. Judy had the most vulnerable, or sorry, the most compassionate heart for the most vulnerable in our
Mm.
community. Uh, she and Greg took in over 100 foster kids.
Mm.
I was one of them. They adopted 10 of us. But she, in particular, they wanted to care for the most vulnerable, meaning many of the foster kids had disabilities. They had they were terribly abused. And so mom really taught me to have a heart and compassion for the most vulnerable in our community. And then dad, Greg, he was a sixth grade teacher.
Mm.
So he taught sixth grade for all 35 years of his career, or whatever it was. And he taught me, he said, Stefan, from an early age, he said, Stefan, if you're going to overcome your disability, you have to prioritize education.
Mm.
And education is going to be the key to help you to succeed. But this is what resonated with me. He said, education is also going to help you to help others succeed.
Mm.
So it was pretty amazing, the two of them. And that's really what has built who I am as an educational leader. I've gone through, being a teacher, principal of a couple of schools, superintendent in Los Angeles, and now I get the honor and privilege to care for 450,000 students as the county superintendent of schools.
I love that, Stefan, and thank you so much for going back to the beginning. I think that's incredible and a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. And wow, what incredible parents too. The way that they loved on you, the way that they instilled that compassion for the vulnerable, and then also taking your gift of education and using that to help others. I mean, wow, that's beautiful. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Bean, for
Yeah.
raising Stefan that way. Beautiful. And I guess when you were K-12, it kind of dovetails kind of beautifully actually into the next question is when you were K-12, was there anything that you struggled with? For me, it was depression and
Mm.
OCD and anxiety. I had some ADD in there. I was a real mess as a kid. Was there anything that you struggled with?
Yeah, early on from kindergarten to about sixth grade, most of my time, probably 50% of my time was either spent in physical therapy, recovering from surgery. I had 5 major surgeries before the age of 10.
Hmm.
Um, being pulled out because they didn't know in the 70s how to educate students with disabilities. IDEA just came out. And so I struggled to connect with peers and classmates, and my teachers didn't really quite know how to teach an English learner who was disabled, who missed half of schooling. So it was quite a challenge.
Hmm.
And I was in a suburban area, so I went to a school where there was no other, kids that looked like me in terms of being a disabled student. I remember, a couple of boys when I tried to fit in the playground, always reminding me I couldn't play this or couldn't play that, and I didn't belong there.
Mm.
One time, one of the boys pinned me against the wall right before we got into the classroom. I talk about this in Lifted to Lead, and that event of, it wasn't the slap on the face that got me, but it was his words, right? Um, like, you don't belong here. And so, yeah, even resonates 40 years later, right? 44 years later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, that really taught me the sense of determination to show him and others that, everybody belongs
Amen.
in a certain setting, certain community.
That's right.
And so, yeah, so, it was challenging, certainly kindergarten through fifth grade, but it was certainly in sixth grade where, and Mike, you could probably appreciate this, that one teacher that whispers something or says something, and it was Mr. Geinsinger. And he said, Stefan, I don't care. The fact that you're just learning to speak English, you miss so many school days, but he goes, but I do know this. You have this gift. He said, you have this gift of gab. Literally said, you like to talk a lot. And he said, but what we're going to do is we're going to take that gift and we're going to help help it shine through you. And so he only made me speak or give oral presentations the whole year. Didn't have to take those reading comprehension tests. He said, the things that you learn, I just want you to give oral presentations. And that, of course, then really cultivated my communication skills. And to the point where at the age of 14, I was asked to go and speak in front of 15,000 people
Mm.
in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the disabled. And so that act alone by that one single teacher just set me off to greater accomplishments and potential.
I love it.
That's kind of my experience, and half of my education experience was really tough, and then the other half was this huge trajectory because of that one teacher.
Isn't that amazing? One teacher breathing life and compassion into you and how that changed the trajectory of your entire life, right? Isn't that
Incredible.
amazing? Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Man, this is awesome. And when now that you're overseeing over 400,000 kids,
Yeah,
if there was just a magic wand and you could do whatever you wanted to support kids with their social emotional intelligence and their emotional and mental health, what would that look like?
that's a really great question. At the Orange County Department of Education, we have what's called a 531 strategic plan, and it's 5 initiatives. And part of that 5 initiatives is really building emotional intelligent leadership and skills in our kids, i.e., social emotional learning. And if I could wave a magic wand, I would hope like in 5 years that all of our kids have the soft skills, the interrelational skills, the interpersonal skills that they would develop and learn through SEL to be confident in a world that would require people to engage with each other. Our students are so caught up in this, right?
Hmm.
And they really need that interaction because many community members that I meet with quite often say that, sure, our kids can come into our work in the workforce with technical skills, but many of them are lacking those soft skills.
Right.
They don't even know how to cooperate or collaborate with one another. So, waving the magic wand, I really believe that AI cannot replace soft skills.
Right.
AI cannot replace a human to human emotional connection. And I really want that of our kids because when they have those skills, they have the confidence to overcome the challenges, the resilience to overcome those challenges, and then to better their own lives as well as their communities.
I love it. Yeah, that's incredible. We're definitely cut from the same cloth. We're we're even born the same year. It's wild.
That's all right.
Just
There you
yeah,
go.
just just hearing you, I'm going, man, this is incredible. This is like a long lost twin. I love it, and I love your heart. I really do, because it's so
Thank you.
true. Learning those soft skills like empathy, like compassion, like collaboration, teamwork, kindness, right? That AI is never going to replace that, and that
No,
human to human connection. We need that.
yeah.
So I love that. I love that. And you know, if there's something that's on your heart, and you know, if there's a kiddo, maybe a kiddo in third or fourth or fifth grade that's really struggling, and they haven't yet heard that sixth grade teacher breathing life into them, what would you say to him or her if they were listening now, or even a parent that wished they had something like that when they were kids?
It's a great question. I talk a lot about in Lifted to Lead that the trajectory of my life only occurred when others surrounded and lifted me, right? From the moment we were airlifted from Vietnam to United States, in that operation, there were two planes out, and it was so chaotic that they mixed up my records and braces and put my possessions on the first plane out. I was placed on the second one. First plane took off and it crashed,
Mm.
and almost every orphan died on that plane crash. And then I was placed on the second. So that moment of lifting, and I believe there was God lifting me out of the
Absolutely.
war-torn country, to the moment that my parents lifted me, right? I told somebody yesterday, we moved into a second story house, and these are kind of the parents the Beans were. Both mom and dad looked at me and said, "Your bedroom's upstairs, so figure it out," right? So here I am, and of course I figured it out, either dragging up the stairs or using crutches. To the moment Mr. Geisinger lifted me,
Mm.
and then now my I'm in the position, honored to be able to now lift our students across our county, to lift leaders, to lift organizations and programs so that our kids can succeed. I would look at that third grader, and I would say that you have an amazing gift and talent. And one day it will be lifted out of you. We will cultivate that as adults. And
Mm.
I tell that parent, it is your job to cultivate that child's inner strength. That we in education need to stop looking at our students from a deficit perspective
Mm.
and look at them from an asset perspective. Each kid has amazing God-given gifts and talents that are just waiting for the parent, the teacher, the adult to cultivate, and so that they can then overcome and achieve, much like I was honored to do. And I would hope that that would resonate with both that third grader that maybe is hopeless and that would learn that they have moments of strength that they can achieve, and then the adult to cultivate that. So that's kind of what I would tell both of them.
I love it. Love that. And where can people buy your book, Lifted to Lead? Is that on Amazon or on Audible, or where can they get a copy?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. We're gonna hold off on the we're gonna hold off on the audiobook for a year, but it was just actually just released, soft release in December, and then officially released on the first. But people can purchase on an Amazon, and it just really, it's an interesting story because it's my autobiography and a leadership book, but it really touches the hearts of many those who those who've gone through health issues and cancer journey. I had my late wife. She's the centerpiece of this story.
Mm.
It's a love story.
Mm.
She, I don't want to spoil it, but she battled with cancer, so talked a lot about that. Talks a lot about it hits the community, people with disabilities, foster youth, and leaders, you and I,
Mm.
right, in this work. And so really, it reminds us as leaders that we lead not because of position or power, but we lead to really lift individuals. And then in return, when you lift individuals, you begin to lift communities. And that's what that book is certainly all about. And I think it'll hit the hearts and the minds of many people. So buy it at Amazon. So thank you for asking me.
And I love books and I love audiobooks. And I know you said you're holding off for about a year to do the audiobook. Are you going to do it like by the author?
Yeah, I am. I am.
Sweet, sweet.
It'll be fun.
That's awesome. Well, I definitely just thank you so much, Stefan, for your heart, for your story, for your encouragement, and thank you for writing that book, man, because you do belong, and you 100% have a God-given gift to encourage and edify and lift people up, and you're doing it every day. And thank you for doing that, brother.
Mike, I'll just say this. I love the title of your podcast because that's exactly what we're to do. We're not only born to shine, but we're to shine that light on others so others shine as well. So I love that, man. Thanks for
Amen.
having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.